Sister Silverine, once again, thank you for making time with me to have these discussions on the topic of parental alienation. And of course, this program is a venture of the Parental Alienation Awareness International Network, PAIN. And we look specifically at the issues around parental alienation. Now, you mentioned that a lot of the problems are from expectations not being met. And so let's look at the expectations of parents and the expectations of children, and how does this cause conflict?
Yes, so every parent, every single parent expect their child or their children to be how they, the parent, want them to be. And every child also have their own dream of how they would like to be. And so a parent having expectation on a child that I want my child to grow up and be this. And the child on the other hand have other desires where I want to be something else. And so the parent tries to not only push, but try to instigate him to do what the parent wants him to do. So all parents wish that their child study well and become some kind of doctor or lawyer or someone professional. But can you imagine if everyone have the same profession? Then who will make the shoes? Who will make the furnitures? Who will paint the house and build the house for us? So the understanding of everyone have a different role to play, which means no one can be exactly how someone else wants them to be. No child may be exactly how a parent expects them to be. Expectation is such a desire that it brings a lot of pain. Expectation is a desire that brings pain. Because if my expectations are not met, I suffer. And so whoever have expectations will suffer. And that interim, which means expecting that someday my desires would be fulfilled. Whilst you are expecting someday my desires would be fulfilled, that whole time you are suffering. Especially in a relationship. Let's say parent and child relationship. So parent have a desire of a child, and child also have a desire of the parent. Let's say the child is a single child with a single parent. That child lives with the expectation that maybe someday my parents would make up and come back and live together. Do you know that? Every child have that expectation, that hope, that someday their parents can come back together and unite, and they can have a family again. And whilst that is not happening, the child is suffering inside. So there's a lot of inner suffering, there's a lot of inner pain, there's a lot of inner sorrow, hurt. One of the greatest pain that a child suffers is to see the parent separate, parent going to divorce. There is a lot of emotional pain going through everyone who is involved in that relationship. And so yes, every child suffers emotionally when they are not seeing the parent happy. And no single parent can fulfill all the desires of a child. We know that even if it's a single father or single mother, they try to play both roles, as mother and as father. So, trying to play both roles, or trying to satisfy the desire of the child by the child not missing a father while living with the mother, and vice versa. The father trying to satisfy the desire of the child by playing the mother role so he will not miss the mother. But it is impossible not to have that true and authentic love of a mother. Let's say the mother does not have all the qualities of a true, genuine mother, she will still love her child. And love does not mean to say that you satisfy all your child's physical needs, but there are emotional needs also that a child needs from a mother that a father cannot fulfill, and vice versa, which means father also cannot fill, or the mother also cannot fulfill that emotional need that a son may have for a father. So each parent is very important to their child. Children suffer silently. Children suffer silently, especially in broken relationships. And maybe they are not able to, or maybe they are not allowed to express those feelings because they haven't found anyone who is always willing to listen. And so just listening to a child's suffering is one form of healing for that child. And anyone can help that child by just giving an ear, lending an ear, by allowing this child to speak out, allowing this child to express his emotions, his feelings. And so this can be a form of healing for that child. And so yes, every child needs both parents. Each parent fulfills different desires of a child.
I mentioned that the child suffers from expecting parents to be together, or at some point they will be together. How, let's say, that's not the case of it could ever happen, but you recognize it in your child. So as it is most of the time the case, the child lives with one parent and visits the other. So let's say the child at the parent that the child is visiting, and you recognize that the child is suffering, but your time with the child is very limited. And you recognize that your child is suffering. How do you approach that? What advice would you give to a parent who has recognized it, and wants to do something about it?
There is something called reconciliation, where you try to reconcile in a relationship, if it's possible. And for that child's sake, if you have to give up something, whether it is comfort, whether it is your own desires, because many times these relationships are because of selfish motives. Selfish motives mean that I am doing what I think is best for me and not for my child. But once you are a parent, your love now is shared because you have a child. So this child also needs you, this child needs your attention, this child needs your care. And so if you have to give up something in order to fulfill that need of your child, then it should be so. Because what happens is that most times, okay, a parent think that this relationship is not working out because she is not ready to accept me as I am, or he is not ready to accept her as she is. So this is what caused the separation. And so if you know, okay, because this child needs me now, then even though my spouse is not ready to accept me for how I am, then for the sake of the child, you should be ready to accept her for how she is. Or you make that sacrifice to fulfill that desire of hers in order for your child to have both parents at the same time. So yes, once you have a family, you have to make a lot of sacrifices, because having a family now means that your time, your resources, which means your energy, your finances, are not only yours, but now your resources, your finances, your time, energy, love is being shared with the family that you have created. So it means sacrifice. We have to learn to sacrifice in order to keep our relationships. If a relationship has been split in the sense that you're already living apart, if there is some way or means to reconcile with your partner in order for your child to have a healthy upbringing, then you should do it. You should do it. So two things are essential in these types of relationships in order to have a healthy upbringing of your child. One is reconciliation and the other is sacrifices. You have to learn to make sacrifices. Because here is not only a question of a child that you are bringing up, which is your child, but this child will then be a child of the community, the society and the world. So it's not just your child. This child will then go out into the society. And because of these broken homes and broken families, children are growing up and becoming, I would say, not very pleasant in the society. And if you look at the background of the majority of unwanted children in the society, they all come from broken relationships. Broken relationship means either they are staying with one parent, either mother or father. It means that these children did not have the love of both parents at the same time. And this is the outcome. The outcome is that because it did not have that experience of love, both mother and father at the same time, they are empty inside. They lack that love, and so they cannot display that love to others. That's the reason why you're seeing that there is no love for life nowadays. People are just killing each other. There is the root of it. The root of it is in the home. Look at your family background and you will see the society that will emerge from that. The society that we have today comes from a home. So, good, proper home, upbringing, proper love towards the children will create proper individuals and good individuals in society.
Now let's look at the child who has been disappointed for, there are numerous reasons. What advice would you give to the angry or disappointed child? It may be an adult, but it's a child of a broken marriage. what advice would you give to them in order for them to move on or to grow?
For the children who did not get what they expected from childhood, which means that love, that care, that nurturing of both parents at the same time. Now that you are a grown-up, your life is in your hands, which means you can seek that love. You can nurture, teach yourself, nurture your own self and grow out of it. There is a saying that says, the quality of my life depends on the quality of my thoughts. And so yes, if you did not get what you needed in your childhood, now that you are an adult, it's all in your hands, what you would like to do and how you would like to build a future for yourself. Secondly, you would not like to give your children what you did not have. You would like to give them everything that they need. So because you came from a background where you did not get that love and that attention, that care that you needed, now you have to make sure that if you have children, it does not repeat with your children. Which means you should not plan in living the way your parents live and creating, making children to suffer. But on the contrary, learn from your past. This is the way I lived in my past, and I do not want the same for my children. But my children should get what I did not get. So many people today live like that. I must give my child the things I did not have in my childhood. And that should not be physical. That should be emotional, mental, psychological, as well as spiritual. Because values and virtues are all spiritual. So teaching your child virtues and values from childhood is so important. But for you to teach them, you must have it first. So firstly, teaching yourself. Teaching yourself that however you lived in your past, you should not repeat it in the future. Which means I am not going to give my child a life of suffering. So I'm going to prepare myself mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually in such a way that my offsprings will never suffer in any way from the time they're born. But from the time they come into this world, I will start giving them the love, the attention, the care and the values that they need to grow up to be good human beings in the society. So once again, I invite you to sit and reflect on yourself. And as you reflect, think about yourself in a situation where you did not receive the love, the care, the attention that you needed. Once you are under the care and protection of others, you are not able to develop, to learn the values that you maybe wanted or needed. And now, as an adult, it's all in your hands, where you can seek and you can learn and you can develop those qualities in order to give it to your offsprings. As I sit in this calm, and quiet state of mind. Let's look at ourselves, see what we lack, see what we need, and see how we can develop it within ourselves. I understand that I have all the qualities that I need, be it love, be it happiness, be it peace. It's all within me. And so that love, that attention that I expected from others was really within myself. And as I learned to spend time with myself, I begin to heal my past emotions, feelings, sorrows and pains. And as my past begins to heal, I begin to create a new and healthy present in order to have a healthy future. Whatever the reason may be for my past, I forgive those who were responsible. I let go of the past in order to move on. And in order to move on, I have to heal myself emotionally, mentally, psychologically. For this, I spend a few minutes daily with myself, and I just reflect on my life. I think about the way I would love to live. I think about how I would love my life to be, and what I need to do to live happy, to live a peaceful and loving life. I take some time daily, spend the time to heal, spend time to develop, and then move on. But in order to move on, I must let go of the past hurts, past sorrows, and past sufferings.
by Sampex Limited, networking societies for a better future.